Greetings and welcome, everyone. You are in the zone, the BIZ Info Zone. My name is V.Lynn Hawkins. I am your host. I'm the Dean and founder of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. And I'm so excited. You know, we are in the energy right now of infinite possibilities and amazing things happening in the world. And one of the things that I bring great attention to, not just in the work that I do, but in the guests that I bring on the show, is around being a difference maker. What does it mean? How can you be a bigger difference maker, playing a bigger game in the world? And I have to tell you, we're doing it today. We have actually got a Periscope going along with having my guest, my very special guest, Lynn Sanders, and the assisting that we've got going on back here is from Virginia Parsons, your Hangout mentor. And I have to tell you that I'm one who, so I can't play this game, can I? I am one who really looks at the bigger things and looking at what I can do. So those of you on Scope are seeing me actually back here playing in my camera and playing with the laptop, getting my screen set up. And one of the things that I like to do is play the bigger game of utilizing technology in a way that I haven't done before. And if I've done it before, I'm still a novice. I'm learning how to do it better. I'm learning how to do it more effectively. And I love this because the Hangout Mentor has been showing me some things. And I'm glad that I'm able to share those with you today. So if you are on Periscope, which we are on Periscope as well, show me some love, say hello. If you're not there, that's okay. You'll have to watch the replay because we are doing something magical today. And with that said, I want to take a moment to introduce you to my friend and colleague, business associate, and a major player in the world of difference making, Lynn Sanders. Lynn is not only a co-author in the book, Permission to Be Powerful, she is the founder of Difference Makers Media. She is the CEO of Park Avenue Marketing, and she is truly a difference maker. She has done some amazing things, including run a crowdfunding campaign and just done some joint venture work, connections, making connections that are helping others to make a bigger difference in the world. And I want to bring her in now to say hello to everyone, but before I do that, let me just give some love to Virginia. Hi, Virginia. Come on in and say hello to everybody.
Hey, how's everyone doing today? Yes, Lynn, we are having fun here today while making a difference. And boy, I don't think you can wrap it up better than that. Have fun and make a difference at the same time. And I'm thrilled to be here and act as your wing woman today and, say hi to a few of our guests. There's Roland here right now. We've got... Yay, Roland. Good to see you here. And we've got William Rock. That's who we've got on live right now. Keep on coming in, you guys. We're going to have a lot of fun today and learn so much from a big difference maker, Lynn Sanders. Thanks, V.Lynn.
Thank you, Virginia. Thanks for being with us today. And all of those out there who are watching, take a moment, ping into the comments, and let us know, first of all, where you're hanging out from, and second of all, tell us how you're making a difference in the world today. And with that, I want to introduce our guest, Lynn Sanders. I told you a little bit about her, but I want her to come in and say hi and tell us a little bit about how she got on this journey of being such a difference maker. Hi, Lynn. Welcome to
Hey, Lynn. Hey, Lynn, thank you so much for having me, and thank you, Virginia, for joining us. It's a real pleasure, and I'm very excited to be here. I think everything in our lives is really choices, and so V.Lynn asked a good question, how did I get to be a difference maker? And I have to honestly tell you that at first I really didn't think of myself as a difference maker, even though I have been making a difference for many people and organizations for many years. And recently someone just said to me, if you want to help difference makers, then you need to claim that title that you are a difference maker. And so I decided that that's right. It felt right. As far as my journey, I would say I always felt that I wanted to do something more than just helping myself. I wanted to do more in helping the world. And it'll be 11 years ago in December, something major shook up my world. And I think sometimes we all need a wake-up call that our time is precious and that we all need to spend our time wisely. But basically, 11 years ago, 3 very special people passed away suddenly. And it's just a shock to me. It was one of my best friends from high school who had a heart attack. And then 6 weeks later, my mother, another very sudden shock. And then just a week or 10 days after that, my business colleague, who was a very noted composer. And so at that point, it really made me stop and think. I just took an assessment. What do I want to do with my time, whatever I have left? And I realized that I wanted to take my creative skills of writing, marketing, video production, and before that I didn't even know about online media, but I wanted to do something to help organizations. And so from that, I don't even know if V.Lynn or Virginia knows this, but from that I started looking for opportunities and things just came my way. I ended up working with my husband 3 different summers doing outreach free health care for poor children in Ecuador with a nonprofit called Causes for Change International. And they needed help in publicity, marketing, and needed stuff that we needed to bring with us to go to Ecuador. They asked me to gather 1,000 toys for kids who had nothing so that when my husband was doing free dental work, the children would have some little gift. So I didn't think I could do it, but and this will lead into what makes a difference maker. I decided to go ahead and just take a risk and try, and I ended up getting 1,800 toys for the children instead of just 1,000. And then,
Wow.
then it went on beyond that. The people started donating money and supplies. So other things that I've done, I've written a book for children called Social Justice, How You Can Make a Difference, published by Capstone Press. You can find it on Amazon. I help different nonprofits in the Chicago area attract funding and support. Sometimes I did this where people hired me as a retainer, and sometimes I just did it on my own volunteer effort because I really wanted to do something. There's a nonprofit in Chicago that has provided health care for those in need. And I just thought their story needed to get out there because everything starts with a story. So I wrote about their story to a TV station, CBS television, and they liked it so much that they not only decided to cover the story, but for the first time ever, the media asked me to be on camera with the story. Normally I'm promoting other people. So I'm redoing my website now, and that clip will be up there. But my feeling is that being a difference maker, and my journey really came through the realization that I can be a difference maker if I just allow myself to go out there and help others. And we all can do that. It all starts with our thoughts.
Beautiful. And you're so right. There comes a time in life when you just have to decide what it is that you're all about, who it is that you are, and in doing that, you've given yourself the opportunity to move into the space that really allows you to be you, and you are truly a difference maker. And when I think about some of the things that we've talked about in the past and some of the things that you've done that have actually shown the progression of difference making that you've done over time, I recall a story that you told me about a magazine in Chicago, I believe it was. Tell us about that experience.
Was that Streetwise magazine?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stories we shared. Well, Streetwise is, I think, the country's only newspaper that allows people who are homeless to be able to make money by selling their paper. So they give the paper to those who don't have a home or are in great need. And I'm not sure if this is the story, but There are a couple stories around that. Usually the vendors are anywhere in the Chicago area or in the suburbs. And one day, I decided to share our story about causes for change to Streetwise. I put it out to different papers, and they picked it up as an article, and it was also in this paper. And I happened to be two stories. One, I happened to be passing a vendor, and I gave him money for the newspaper, and I happened just to say, our story happens to be in your newspaper. And he said, really? Can you give me your autograph? I thought it was really funny. So I gave him an autograph, and I told him that my husband is a holistic dentist in the Chicago area, and he was very excited, and he needed dental work. So we ended up, I spoke with my husband, and he's, very much into service and caring. He said he would be happy to help people as long as they would just cover his basic costs. So then we went even further, and we contacted the publication, and they decided that they would screen applicants and refer people to him who were in need, where he would just be basically having his costs covered, but they could then address a wider audience, people who are in need in the Chicago area of dental work. And you might think, well, why is dental work so important? But think about it. If your teeth don't look good, if it's blackened or you have missing teeth, how likely will someone hire you for a job? Or, what are they going to think about you if you don't look good and you're supposed to be at a front desk? So that sort of an outlet, it's a ripple effect by my writing the story, and then that story happens to be in someone's hands in the newspaper, how they could get their teeth fixed and how more people can also benefit from that. One story can do a great deed.
Yes, it can. I can totally attest to that. And I know, I mentioned the fact that you had been working on a crowdfunding project that actually is sort of still underway.
Exactly.
How did you get started with that? What was your interest around that? And, tell us a little bit behind it and what you were able to do as a result of that.
Very good. Thank you. Well, in everything that we encounter in life, every person or situation, I think there are always opportunities if we're open to them. So this story is a book that is in process, as Lynn mentioned. It's still going through the illustration phase. It's a true story of a friendship between a man and a bird that helped the whooping crane survive. And that man is Dr. George Archibald, the co-founder of the International Crane Foundation, and it's the world's only place in Baraboo, Wisconsin, but it's the only place in the world that harbors and takes care of all 15 species of cranes. So basically, I was asked to accompany a video crew on a video shoot for Amoco, and they were sponsoring this video shoot to show their international marketing managers how they were doing something good for the environment, and they wanted to capture George Archibald on screen and their marketing people because they were dedicating a whooping crane exhibit, which is there at the International Crane Foundation. So I had the great opportunity of interviewing a variety of people, including the founder, Dr. George Archibald, and off camera he told me his story of how he ended up becoming friends with this whooping crane because the bird believed she was a human. She had been imprinted by a zookeeper when she was just hatched, and so for her first 16 days, she only saw this zookeeper. He kept her in his house in a cardboard box, and he didn't realize that birds, like people, get affected by who they're around, and the bird just wanted to be around people after that and would not hang around any other crane. So when George learned about that when he was in ornithology school, he decided that after he built this foundation, he would try to get Tex to his foundation, which he did, and do this mating dance with her to help her lay an egg. And it took 6 years. He never gave up, and he also had the help of other scientists with artificial insemination, which we don't go into in the story. But the point was that he did something no one else had done before. He decided he would dance with her because whooping cranes were on the verge of extinction. There were just a handful of whooping cranes left in the whole world, and even now they're still one of the most endangered species. 11 of the 15 crane species are still endangered, and whooping cranes are the most endangered. But he saved that species from just a handful of cranes to now over 300 whooping cranes around the world. So anyway, I was just so excited and impressed. I thought, wouldn't this be a great children's story, because children need inspiration too, and they need to know that they can make a difference, even if it's something that no one's ever done before. They could reach out and help someone or help something. And so that's why that story stuck in my mind, and we're in process of getting it done.
And I just have to say, I wish I had a picture of the book and what you did there, but what I do have and what I'm showing to the Periscope audience is what the Google Plus audience can see. That, thank you, Roland Taco, has put up the picture of you singing with the kids in, did you say Guatemala?
Ecuador. I was keeping them. They were waiting outside in 90+ degree heat to get their teeth pulled or examined, and so of course they were just restless. So I borrowed a guitar from someone, and I have a music background, so I was entertaining children and doing musical games in the heat while they waited for hours. That's what I did, and it was really fun.
Well, that was a beautiful picture, and thank you, Virginia. Now we've got a picture of Dancing with Tex up. And I loved this story because not only did you make a difference in Dr. Archibald's life by pulling this story out of the ethers of memory and into something tangible, you've written a book that contains not only the story but pictures. And tell us about how you've incorporated the message with the environmental opportunities that can come about from this. I think this is really key. When we talk about people making a difference, we think about, well, I can write a book and it can be, a story of something good that's happening, or I can put on a program that's going to help someone do this or help this endangered species or anything like that. But you've actually taken this entire project to another level to make a difference, and introducing it to schools and what have you in a certain way. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, thanks, Lynn. Well, you might not know this, Lynn, but actually 2 colleagues and I created a children's musical about the story. Did you know that?
Yes. Beautiful.
You didn't know that?
Yeah.
And what happened was this story was so intriguing, but it dealt with something that obviously no children's book talks about, artificial insemination. I didn't want to go into that. So I struggled with how to create this story and tell the message, and I rewrote it many, many times, sometimes with the bird as the main character, sometimes with George as the main character, sometimes making it a duo, which it is now about both of them. But because it took me so long, and I actually almost published it once by a traditional publisher, and then they ran out of funding, I was taking a workshop in writing musicals. I have interest and background in writing lyrics, and I collaborated with 2 other people, a book writer and a composer, and we created a show, and it was performed live at the Theater Building, Chicago. It's called A Whooper's Tale, The Incredible Story of Tex, and it was from Tex's viewpoint with a fictionalized talking bird and songs. And we made it so that Tex was a bit of a bully because she didn't want to be around other cranes, even though that wasn't the truth. She just wasn't used to cranes. And it went over very well. And then I realized, I really wanted to get this book done. So as far as incorporating the message and adding environmental aspects, I think that it really takes a lot of thinking when you write a book of how you want to frame the story. What do you want people to come away with? I created an introduction, and I created this story. At this point, the story starts out with Tex's birth. It's sort of chronological, and I condensed all the main points so that people realize that George never gave up. And it's a picture book. So in picture book stories, you have repeated words or repeated elements to drive home a point. And in this story, the repeated phrases are that, did he give up? No, no. And so the essence of the story is that persistence and faith and belief in oneself is the way to achieve success and results. So that is the message. And then at the end, I wanted to add a little bit of more educational value. So there's an author's note at the end which tells people about the Crane Foundation and some factual information about George. And then I also added a question and answer at the back that people might ask. So it's really a story plus more. And I'm very excited. It's being illustrated. And then after that, I have a publishing company waiting. So I don't have anything solid to show you now, but we will hopefully, within the next 6 months.
Well, that's exciting. And I love the fact that it's not only a connection because it's a children's book. So you can think about connecting it with grandparents and parents and schools, but there's a true message that you bring about within the book and within the way that you set it up to market it that actually focuses on the environmental aspect. And I think that, to my point about going the step further, I really love the fact that you've demonstrated that for us in showing and talking about the environmental piece. It looks like Virginia's got a comment here about from William Rock. Thank you. Wow, Lynn Sanders, talk about a great interview. You're a total rock star. And that's what this is all about. There's so many people out there that are difference makers that are not getting the kind of acknowledgement and recognition to help them know that what they're doing is truly something major and of a huge effect. And we want to do that. So, Lynn, share with us a story that speaks to your concepts around leaving a legacy.
Okay, thank you. And one thing I was going to just finish tying up with what we just mentioned too about difference making in the environmental story. I think that we all can learn from each other. That's why we're all here. I feel we're all difference makers. So just as I wrote a story about George, I was also learning those qualities of persistence, and faith and belief in myself. And hopefully that this interview can give someone listening out there faith and belief that you can do whatever you set out to do. Just believe in yourself, because whatever you decide to do, it really starts from your thoughts. You can do it if you continually work at it. If George gave up after the third, fourth, or fifth year, the whooping cranes might not be alive right now. Now, Lynn had asked me about leaving a legacy, and I would like to share a story that I was able to get from a man who happened to see me when I was doing some marketing and publicity for the Jewish Community Centers of Chicago. And he used to be the head of the JCC Chicago. His name is Jerry Witkowski. And he asked me to help him in marketing and publicizing for his book. I'll just show it to you. It's called The Grandest Love, Inspiring the Grandparent-Grandchild Connection. And right now I'm not working with him professionally, but I really believe in what he's doing and hope to be able to help him further. So what he says, which is I think applicable to all of us, is look at your life not just in terms of what legacy I'm going to give my children and grandchildren financially, but what personal legacy can I leave? What will be the values that they will carry with them? And so what I learned from Jerry was he suggested doing journaling that you would share with your family about your values, and then having time set aside, if you can do this, if your family is cooperative, and he means not just your immediate family, but your extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, is to be able to send them a values assessment, sort of like you would almost do for business, but now this is for your family, and see about having a family meeting on a regular basis where you each can share what's important to you and be able to help each other. And I thought that's so great, because in this world where we're all doing our own things, and yet we have the good fortune of having technology like this, where even now, V.Lynn is coming from Atlanta and Virginia's from Nevada, and I'm in Chicago. We're all coming together. We can leave a legacy with our values, beyond just money, in having values written down and connecting, even or being willing to connect. One thing he said here, which I love in this book, is that our families are like a little civilization unto themselves. So if you think of that, then so how do we make a better world? Well, we start with ourselves first. And as I was saying to V.Lynn before the program, just yesterday was a major Jewish holiday, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. And it's a really, really big holiday and serious of contemplation and recognizing that we all have choices. We can do something that could have negative or positive repercussions, but it all starts with us. And so I think all of you listening, you can do what you want. Just take it slowly and be conscious of your thoughts.
Beautifully said. I love that. And we've got another quote here now. I love this. Marketers, from Roland Takaoka, marketers talk about story marketing. And Lynn Sanders lives it. Her mantra, bringing your stories to life. And you do with your show. Tell us a little bit about your show. Speaking of being a difference maker.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I have a show that's right now in a summit phase, and we're going to be featuring V.Lynn Hawkins tomorrow, so I don't want to neglect that. So now, just like Lynn is putting me on the stand, I'm going to get to interview her. I always have been fascinated by stories. As far back as I can remember, I love reading biographies because I just thought, isn't it interesting what people did with their life? So my show, The Difference Makers, is all about interviewing people out there who are willing to take action on their thoughts and their feelings and their beliefs and make something happen. So my purpose behind the show is to inspire and empower and transform lives, both businesses and lives, because businesses are people. And we do that with our thoughts. And I want to also bring up the fact that it's easy. One of the people commenting here before the show had asked about what happens if you feel drained. And it's easy to get down sometimes. You have to consciously focus on what you want to attract. Life has lots of ups and downs. There's not one easy pathway. So my idea is that by listening to positive stories, positive thoughts, Zig Ziglar used to say he gives his mind a bath just like we give our body a bath because it needs it. So by listening to those positive thoughts, you can empower yourself. You can put it into your own mind. I hear Hap was, had the good fortune of hearing Zig Ziglar speak twice, and he said he used to consider his car his automobile university because he'd put tapes in it every day. He was initially a salesperson so that he could program his thoughts. So that's why I put out a show, because I myself want to feel empowered and inspired and transformed. So like a lifelong, I think, process. And I admire world leaders, even if we don't all personally know someone like Martin Luther King, or we know Mother Teresa or Gandhi, their stories live on. That's what we remember. So my focus is really helping you, the difference makers, help you get your stories out through writing or videos or media like this. And the world is getting more and more connected. Let's put out the positive stories, and let's turn off the TV with its negative news, at least for a while. We don't have to watch that because it's going in our brain. Just like the bird, Tex, who believed she was a person, she was imprinted. We also get imprinted by thoughts and feelings and others. And so I urge you all to be aware of what you're reading, what you're watching, who you're around, because we're affected by them. So let's put out good energy so we can attract that back to us. And we can do that through our stories.
Absolutely. We can do that through our stories. We can do that in the groups that we're in. And I think it's a key point, too, Lynn, that you bring that up, because a lot of times we don't recognize some of the people that we're around even and how they can be impacting us. And if they're people that you have to be around, then you're bringing your positive self to them can help to elevate their level of energy and being in that flow that you're talking about. And I call it the level of love.
Mm. Like
When
that.
you think about love coming into the picture, you actually do give yourself the ability to just, uplift your own spirit, and in doing that, you can uplift the spirits of others. And you, my friend, do that. And I am so excited about the Difference Makers Summit. So, tell our audience a little bit about it. I mean, I would love to share that I'm going to be on tomorrow. I'm actually going to be doing the 5 keys of accelerated business and the 10x CEO. And,
Yes.
when I think about inspire, empower, and transform, tell us what brought all of that to the summit and what the summit is all about.
Oh, thank you, Lynn. I think sometimes things just hit us. We get, a little nudge from the universe. It's not always a lightning bolt, but it's a little nudge that says, you need to do this. And you might not know why. And I'm saying this because I'm very grateful to know people like you, V.Lynn, and Virginia here, and Roland, who was on our program last week. Thank you, Roland. As well as the people who are going to be in our program. They're all difference makers, and there are more out there in the universe. So what I've learned is that what you focus on, you attract more of that. So I want to attract more difference makers to us and help more people. And what better way than to create a team of people who are already standing firm in their energy of making a difference and bringing more so we can make a bigger ripple effect, a bigger impact. So I'm really glad that, first of all, I personally have the opportunity to know you, V.Lynn, and Virginia and Roland over time. And then I also have someone else I've known, I met through basically through Bob Berg, named Steve Taubman, Dr. Steve Taubman, who's going to be speaking to us on the summit. And he's an unhypnotist. He helps people basically recognize that you're only limited by your beliefs. So he helps people unhypnotize themselves from their limited thinking. And he's going to also be talking about how to be successful in business and move forward. I don't have in front of me the directory of the order. I think I know the order and the topics. I would recommend that everyone go to the link that's posted right underneath my name here. That's the link to the summit page. But we have Virginia's going to be speaking about, maybe you could talk about what you're going to say yourself, Virginia, about Hangouts and the newest technology, because there's so much new technology that people could take advantage of. Even this Hangout on Air, I would wager to say that 50% of the people, at least out in the public, have no idea what a Hangout on Air is. I don't know if you would agree with me, V.Lynn. Most people I know don't know anything about this.
You are so right. I believe that we are moving into new and uncharted territory when it comes to the level of use of Hangouts on Air, and now we've got something called Periscope and Blab, and we're playing in all of that. When we started the broadcast, I was also blabbing, and we're actually going to do the after show today in Blab. So stay tuned, hang around until the end so that you can find the link for the Blab, so that when we migrate into the after show, you'll be able to pick it up and join us. We're going to actually invite you in to join us and talk with us live, just like we do here.
That's great. Well, let me just finish. I was going to tell the rest of the people who we have on the show. So
Great.
You're coming up next, V.Lynn. That's tomorrow. We're doing it on Fridays because most people who I spoke with are most available on Fridays. It's 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time, so just adjust that for your own time frame. After V.Lynn, I believe we have next Robert McPhee and his business partner, Cheryl Vogt. They are partners in a new company called Mind PT. Did I get the date right? I think they're the next ones up after you, V.Lynn. Mind PT stands for Mind Power Technology. You can find it at mindpt.com. And it's a really revolutionary, fascinating program that we're all going to learn about that combines neuroscience with psychology and will help all of us achieve a happier, more contented state. And Robert McPhee and Cheryl are going to be having this program as part of another program that will be introduced on Oprah in November. So that tells all of you that this is being so highly regarded. It's going to be on a world-class program like Oprah. After Mind PT, then Virginia, I believe, is going to be speaking, and she's got a wealth of information for you. I have to let all of you know, I also studied with Virginia after having taken the Hangout Marketing Challenge with Alex Mendosian. So I got so much more information on really how to use Hangouts on air and all the technology. And here she's giving this all to you in a program. So I would recommend you take a listen. Then after Virginia,
let me just say, he's going to be doing Hangout and live stream promotion strategies. Hangout and live stream promotion strategies. Who doesn't want to find out how to do, get in front of a bigger audience and get your wider reach? Well, our Virginia Parsons is going to be there to actually give you all of that.
Thank you. You know, maybe I should have you, Lynn. You read the description. I'll tell the people's names because I don't have it in my paper in front of me. I know their names. Well, so after Virginia, I think we have then...
Is Teresa?
Right. Right. So I just wanted to preface our next speaker. You know, I want to encourage everyone listening right now that you never know who can be of help to you. And if you approach them with the attitude of being of service, there's a spiritual law called the law of reciprocity. People want to give back to you if you're giving to them. So I was referred to Teresa. I have never met her in person, and I really didn't have any long conversation before asking her to be on the summit, but I had been referred to her, and I was told that we have things in common. She is not only an author, she's a 3 times best-selling author. Her 4th book is just coming out October 1st on mass influence. And she's going to help people learn how to effectively influence other people in a positive way. I decided, of course, I wanted to read her book, even though it hasn't come out yet, so I pre-ordered it. But I think it's something that we all can learn from. And you can fill me in on, you know, Lynn, on the details. I didn't write all the details right now. I don't have it in front of me. But
well, I'll suffice it to say that the title is Mastering the Influence Game. And once again, who wouldn't want to master the game of successfully influencing those who you're talking to and your perfect client and your perfect customer to work with you? So I'm excited about it. I'm going to be there. And just really quickly, here's something that Roland has added. It's a Zig Ziglar quote. You can have in life everything that you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And that is so key. That's exactly what you were talking about. And that's what difference makers do. So next after Teresa is Dr. Steve Taubman. The title of the session is 7 Steps for Getting Things Done.
Right. So besides, one last thing I was going to say about Teresa is that she speaks all over the world. So it's really special. I actually called her cold. So I'm going to just urge you that if you ever want to just try someone, it can't hurt to write them cold, because they're a person just like you. And she said it was the nicest cold call she'd ever gotten. We were just talking, and she agreed to be on the summit. She just said, let me think for a moment. Okay, I'll do it. And I think she was consulting with her inner guide, her guidance system. So we're going to learn from her, but it was someone I really hadn't known very long. And Steve Taubman, I had the pleasure of meeting him personally at a Bob Berg event and was very impressed. I ended up taking his online course, which is called Procrastination Annihilation, how to get rid of procrastination. It's the kind of course that we can all benefit from taking more than one time. So he's going to be giving you tips from his course and also from his experiences, and he's really, really amazing speaker, and he's also a best-selling author of his book on hypnosis. And all these people will also be giving bonus gifts, and they add up to thousands of dollars in value. So what we're doing is we're making these live calls free, and given that the speakers are okay with this, we're going to let the live call be available for at least a day or two, and then these will all be put into a recorded program. So you can get the live series recorded for a small fee, and also be able to get all the bonuses. And that link is on the page that you will find once you go to the Google page that I have on the screen right here. Just go to that page and look under the details, and it will send you to our registration page.
Beautiful. And last but not least, we cannot overlook the fact that you will be contributing at one of the sessions.
I forgot me. That's right. We're so focused on everybody else. That's right. Well, I thank you, Lynn. It's great having you here. I think as I said to you from the beginning of this program, I've always been fascinated with stories, and I also love learning from great people like yourselves. So about a year ago, I met Alan Hickman and Jan Stringer, and they created a program called Perfect Customers, where they teach people how to put the law of attraction into action with 5 action steps, and they certify people. So I decided I would take their certification course and became trained as a strategic attraction coach, and I found it really phenomenal because, as I said also earlier, everything begins in our thought, but there are ways that you can take action steps to direct your thoughts in a positive way, and your thoughts translate into feelings. When you think something, that becomes a feeling, which then becomes an action, and then becomes a result. T. Harv Eker, who is another big motivational name, and I learned from him, put that into, T for thought leads to F for feelings, which leads to A for action, R results. He put those into codes, and he had people declare statements that would make them feel a certain way, like, I am a difference maker, or I am a millionaire, I do have a millionaire mind. So I wanted to share some of the things I learned about creating your story and how to create the story you want to create through a program. So I'm the last speaker, and I asked Roland to interview me because I didn't want to just speak without having someone have a conversation with. I'd love to have one of you who's on the screen to be a wing woman, because it's really helpful, I think, to focus on one thing at a time. And for me, I find it really hard to try to look at comments while having a conversation. But I'm really excited to share with you what I've learned, because I feel that if we all can get our stories out and learn how to strategically attract the right customers, then we're again creating a bigger impact.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I really have grown to have a different perspective about story. While there were years where I heard people talk about, tell a little bit about your story. Who are you? What are you bringing to the table? I was very confident in bringing to the table that which spoke about who I was as a businesswoman, the professional. However, we are the sum total of our life experiences, and a lot of my life led to the degree of passion that I brought to my work. Yet, I separated the stories and could not bring myself to allow anyone to see that side of me, even when I was hearing stories, that were pretty tough to tell.
Yes.
I felt so empowered by those individuals and grateful to them for sharing that, although for me it was still a scary place to be. And I know that there are a lot of people who are saying, oh my God, there's no way that I could share my story. There's nobody, my story is not as valuable, I was more messed up, or I wasn't as messed up, But tell us your take on the value of story and bringing your story into the context of whatever it is that you're trying to do, especially as a difference maker.
Thank you. Your story is everything. And just like you said, Lynn, it's hard sometimes to be open. You feel like you're making yourself vulnerable by telling people your story. But if you don't make yourself vulnerable, then people never really know the authentic you. Who are you? In fact, I read a lot, and I was reading one person who said, when you make your profile up, you have a choice. You can make it from the I person or from the third person. And you'll find, if you go on the internet, look at different websites, some come from, so-and-so did this, and the other is from I. Well, this is a tip, if you put it from the I perspective, people will relate more to you. And it's okay if you make mistakes. I feel even vulnerable. I've gotten more comfortable, I have to say, being on programs, but I realize that you have to be willing, as Virginia said this to me too, to fail forward, or your first draft is better than no draft. So what happens if you make a mistake? It's not the end of the world. I'm working on mastering my little fears of technology, and so it's okay if I make a mistake. And stories, the reason stories are so important is they are remembered. Like if I were to say to you, like in school, I'll say, tell us the birth date of this president, the death date, or tell us the order of all the presidents. Maybe some people can do that, but it's not something that's easily remembered. But if you say to someone a story like, well, what happened to Princess Diana? Or, I mean, that wasn't happy, but you remember stories, or what did Mother Teresa do? Why is she so beloved? So if you're willing to be vulnerable and open and tell your story, I feel you will attract those who can help you. And so you just have to put it out, frame it in the way that will attract the right people. And that's why I'm giving this program, and why I'm going to be offering online coaching for people where they can learn how to put their stories together strategically. We don't want to focus on negative unless we want to draw more of that to us, and I don't think anyone here does that. So I shared a little bit of my story of how I feel like I transitioned into being a difference maker, because I wanted all of you to realize that even through the hardships, and we all will go through them, there's light at the end of the tunnel if we persevere. And that's what this is all about, to all of us to grow together. We all are affected by each other.
We are. That was beautifully put. And there are times and opportunities for us to share even the tough times of life. And I think as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we really want to understand that all of our story, as you said, has value. Yet it is truly up to us as to when and what to share of our stories in order to further establish the connection with the person that we're speaking to, or with the audience that we're speaking to. And I think that, as difference makers, those are some of the most tender parts of our stories that are reasons, the why behind a lot of the what that we do. And it's key. When I learned that, I actually, personally, part of my story is I transitioned and transformed not just myself and how I was showing up in the world, but who it was that I was truly attracting to me, because people knew that I truly understood their situation because they could understand mine. And they could see that, well, if you got through that situation, then I can as well. And that's always been the value of shared stories. And in business, one of the things, and I love how you do this so well, is teaching people how to deliver that story so that it is a point of connection and not a point of separation. So thank you for that, and doing this work, because people think storytelling, okay, I'm going to tell somebody else's story. That's part of it, but your story is key in all of that as well.
Right, and also something to be aware of is that even our words, everything that we do, everything that we say has energy. So when you are thinking strategically, think about the words. So I'm going to give you an example. You can say the word problem, or you can say the word challenge. They have two different energies. Problem is a more negative word. I have a problem. Oh boy, she's got a problem. But I have a challenge. Well, that really evokes a feeling of, well, I'm going to overcome that challenge. It's not such a downer. And so when you are creating your stories, you want to really examine the type of words you use, because those words have energy, just like places. I'll just share a little story. My husband is very intuitive, and he can just pick up energy everywhere. And sometimes that's hard because he's so sensitive to sense and feelings. And we once went to a hotel, and he just felt like something was wrong. And the place didn't feel right, and we ended up leaving, and I was really glad. I mean, but I didn't realize at the time that he was so sensitive. And later on, we were driving in a car, and he just said, I feel like we should not go on the highway. And I said, okay, let's just take the long way home, which we did. And we found out later that there was an accident on that highway. It was a pretty big accident, and if we had gone on the highway at that time, maybe we would have been involved. So I'm going to just leave you with the thought that we create our stories. We should be aware of the words we use, the thoughts, but be aware of the senses that come to us. Be aware of our intuition, and allow things to flow through us. When I write for clients, whether it's a press release or whether it's video scripts, I love writing videos, I often start out with some kind of meditation and open myself to whatever sources, whatever higher energy is out there to flow through me so that I feel I can write the best way possible. And I invite you all have it, to just allow that to happen for you too.
Beautiful. And I love, there was one word that you said in there that was very key to the conversation of energy, and it was flow. So I just want to bring people to that as well. When you think about the words that you're using, the things that you're saying, think about what Lynn just gave you in one word, flow. Does this word have the kind of energy that flows, or will it be blocked or stopped? Is it too hard? And sometimes the hard things are too weighty to flow. So thank you for that. And I'd love to bring up this next comment from William Rock. Thank you, William, for being here on the show, with us on the show today. A very encouraging discussion, he says, as it motivates him to finally finish his book. Wow. Congratulations. So, Lynn, we're going to wrap up today's show, and I want to invite people to join us in the upcoming after show, which we're going to do via Blab. We're actually going to try and do it two ways. We're going to try and do Blab and the Hangout, but we're going to invite everyone to join us over in Blab because we're testing out all of these new tools and opportunities, which, again, are words that have that kind of energy, the way that you spoke about problem versus challenge, opportunity. See what the opportunity is in the words that you're saying, in the scripts that you're writing, in the things that you want to communicate to others. And we're going to open up the opportunity for you to join us live in a Blab. And while we're kind of preparing all of that on the backside, Lynn, I have a couple of other questions to ask you. The first is about the Difference Makers Summit. Why would someone really want to be there? I know that you are the creator of it and you've, assembled the lineup, but if I was just a struggling entrepreneur, if I was just out here trying to get my work done, I'm seeking things to help, tell me why I want to be there.
Good question. Okay, what we're doing is we're delivering content that we feel will be valuable to you in your business growth. That's what it comes down to. There's so much out there, and we're condensing our knowledge for you in a 1-hour segment each Friday. So we're going to be covering hot topics that you will need to know to grow your business. Whether you like it or not, the world is online. You're going to need to know about online marketing. You're going to need to know about, as V.Lynn will be speaking about tomorrow, how do you go from chaos and confusion to clarity and cash? How do you overcome overwhelm and become strong in what you want to do and be able to get more results and get more money too? So we've assembled leaders in all different categories for you. If you want to grow your business and be able to really get to the strongest things that you can do to build your business, I would recommend you be there. Also, we're offering it free for a live series. There are other summits out there, and most of them that I've seen, or many of them, do require that you pay some money up front. So we're not doing that. And I think the other really important thing to be aware of in this summit is that it's interactive, just like this Hangout on Air. So you're able to ask questions to each of these thought leaders, be able to get answers, and hopefully grow from them and get opportunities and bonus gifts. So I would say there's a lot of benefits for all of you if you decide to tune in.
Beautiful. And this may be the toughest question yet, or maybe not. Tell me what the value is in connecting difference making to social entrepreneurship.
Okay, social entrepreneurship is the way of the world right now. I mean, everybody, wouldn't you say, everybody's got a Facebook, or most people have Facebook, or many people are looking on social media sites. So if you want to build your business today, you have to let the world know. Now, it used to be people would send out direct mail and you'd have to spend a lot of money, but you don't have to do that anymore. So difference makers can make a bigger difference by getting engaged with the world, and the way I see it is using social media to do that. You brought up crowdfunding earlier with my book. You know, I was able to get a donation from someone in Bulgaria, someone I never met before. But thanks to an organization that V.Lynn is also involved with, Reality Crowd TV, and I'd be happy to plug them, realitycrowdtv.com. It's a great site for people who are doing crowdfunding and want to get support. It's an incubator site where you can learn from each other. And I joined that for free and got help. Manolis Safinarolakis, I hope I pronounced his name properly, last name, is the founder, and I even had him on one of my difference-making shows. So I think if you want to make a bigger difference, you are passionate about a cause, you want to educate or uplift, inspire, empower people, you've got to be on social media. That's the way to go.
Beautiful. Thank you for that added information. And I would love to just say thank you, Virginia Parsons, for being such a fabulous wing woman today. I love you and am so grateful for you. I know that you're going to be setting up the blab for us real quick, and if you could post the link for others to join us over there, that would be great. And the other thing I want to do is for our audience. Social entrepreneurship is a space that personally I believe that you cannot do business in the world today without having a higher purpose in the business that you do. That higher purpose is just being in the space of thinking and doing things, knowing that your business and the work that you're doing is bigger than you. A lot of us come out of the corporate environment and say that, you know, well, when I was in corporate, we used to do this and we used to do that, and we had this opportunity, and I was part of contributing to the employee matching gift kind of thing. And now that I'm an entrepreneur, I don't know how to step back into the space of doing. And in that doing, it possibly means also contributing dollars. Being a social entrepreneur means to be in the conscious space of making a difference in the lives of others by the work that you're doing. And that's one of the things that we here at the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship actually promote. We teach. We're actually going to be starting a class to help those who want to get their 501c3 and help start a nonprofit. We're also going to be focusing some attention on educating and helping those who choose to become B Corps. If you haven't heard about a B Corporation, it is a for-profit business that actually is set up, and it has a lot of the tax benefits that a nonprofit organization has. And so we're actually going to be sharing more information in that regard and helping you to become a B Corporation if that's something that you choose to do. Helping you to either help a friend or a colleague start their 501c3, be the connection for that to occur, or starting your own. While I am a multiple entrepreneur, my first teaching to entrepreneurs is if you can do everything that you choose to do from the space of a single business, that's definitely the way to go. And we teach that at the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship as well. We are truly about difference makers and difference making. And we want you to be there with us as we take this journey. I am so excited to have been gifted with this opportunity to bring you the BIZ Info Zone show and to let you know that today you've been in the zone, the BIZ Info Zone. Thank you to my special guest, Lynn Sanders, founder of and creator of the Difference Makers Summit, Virginia Parsons, the Hangout Mentor, who's our wing woman today. And I want to thank all of you who've either come live or are viewing us in the replay and say thank you so much for being here today. I'm V.Lynn Hawkins. I'm your host, and we're going to see you on the other side in the black. So we'll see you. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Thanks, everyone.